wind's coming at us from due east. Their forecast was for west wind.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. You're just telling us the wind is west at 10 knots. This wind is east at 10 knots, easily.
Okay, so we're 120 miles away from Cape Flattery.
Yep. Maybe a little less than that, but not much.
First day in how long we've been able to come out without your foul weather jacket
Well, we
on?
were out a few days ago, weren't we? Were we out a few days ago without him? Without our foul weather gear?
Not that I recall.
I can't remember ever being out of it. In fact, I have orange skin with a hood flap behind my neck. July 13th, day 49. Weather's not as nice as it was yesterday. We had a falling barometer most of the day yesterday. All the signs of a warm front coming through, and now we're starting to see the edges of it. We've got rain, increased wind, but relatively calm seas. We're running about a 3-foot swell with 1 to 2 foot wind waves on top of it, and rain. Wind is still coming out of the northeast now, but we're making good way with the main reefed and the tiller lashed. We're making progress at about 3.5 knots without having to do anything for it, and comfortable below down here in the cabin. So we're fine, eating well, running out of some things like treats and paper products, but we have now less than 300 miles to go, so we are happy.
We had for supper last night.
What's that?
What did we have for supper last night?
What did we have for supper last night? Oh yes, we had spicy baked beans with sautéed Maui onions, sweet Maui onions, really nice, and cornbread, and it was very, very good. It was very good. Simple, hearty, and good tasting. So we are eating well. We continue to eat well. We skipped dessert last night because supper was so good. We just didn't bother with dessert. So looking forward to more of those good meals. We had a nice hearty loaded oatmeal, as Laura calls it, for breakfast this morning. So yeah, we're in no distress. Main concern is that Laura's mom is worried about us being 49 days, and we still probably have 4 days more to go. Optimistically 5 days more. So but there you go. Now we have to recharge the battery in the camera because we're almost out of juice. Now I'm gonna go back to my reading. July 14th, day 50, the big 5-0, 50 days at sea. The last, edit that part out. 50 days at sea. Well, we're on our third day, same course. Basically the same conditions. There was a warm front that moved through, brought with it rain and fog, and so it's been raining. I have not touched the tiller or the main sheet. We're into the third day now since I've gone out there and actually laid hands on the tiller or the main sheet or made any adjustments to the sails. Boat steering herself, on course. Wind remains constant.
Perfectly on course.
Perfectly on course, as Laura has said. So I guess that says a lot about our boat, doesn't it? With no, and we don't have a wind vane now, you understand. There's no wind vane. I have not connected a sheet to the tiller or anything like that. I have a piece of surgical tubing running from the windward sheet cleat to the tiller, and then from the tiller to the leeward sheet cleat. Now, the tension is on the windward cleat. The leeward side is just there to keep the tiller from flopping around when we roll. So, and we've been doing this most of the second half of the trip, second 2/3 of the trip. We've been self-steering like this. The boat's been steering like this with this setup. So we're very happy about that. Even though our expensive electronic autopilot failed the third day, there's nothing here to fail. So, and if it does, I have another piece of surgical tubing in the locker. So we're good. We are now just about 200 miles from Cape Flattery, and feeling really good about that because we're making progress with very little effort, and we're able to stay in relative comfort even though it's cold and raining outside. We don't have to go out there to work the boat. We just pop our head out every 15-20 minutes, take a look around, 360-degree look around, check the deck, the rigging, and the horizon, and everything's been good so far. Have been experiencing good weather, and it's very pleasant. Speaking of very pleasant, Laura whipped up her famous cranberry walnut pancakes this morning for breakfast. Let me tell you, that was very pleasant and very good. Yes, sirree, Bob. We continue to eat well. Water maker means we don't have to worry about our water supply. Although, with all this clouds and stuff, the solar panels are not keeping up well with the battery. We did have a couple of days of sunshine, and that helped a lot. We haven't had to run the engine, but I think we're going to have to run the engine today or tomorrow. Yeah, today or tomorrow we're going to have to run the engine to charge the battery up unless we get some sunshine. So, according to our weather book, all of the signs indicate that we'll have another 12 to 24 hours of rain and then clearing. By then we should be within reasonable distance of Cape Flattery, and hope we can sneak in there without any more storms hitting us. So here we are, enjoying ourselves in the comfort of our cozy little cabin while it's raining outside. The sea state is calm, the wind is moderate, and we're making about 3.5 knots. So, and Lealea is taking care of us and taking care of herself in fine fashion. And we're sitting in the cabin now enjoying a nice cup of coffee.
So how's the morning going so far, Chuck?
So far, so good. I mean, except that we, drifted too far north last night when the wind died.
It died, didn't it?
It died. Sail banging, boom, banging back and forth, sail slatting.
Completely flat water.
Completely flat. Well, it wasn't completely flat because it was rolling, making the boom bang back and forth. I had to tie it down.
Yeah, but the rollers were flat.
Yeah.
There was no little...
There's no ripples in the water, no wind
ripples
at all.
at all.
Right now we got probably 8 knots, maybe less. But we're moving. I think we're moving. Yeah, we're moving, kind of.
So,
July 16th, day 52. Mostly cloudy skies, a few patches of blue. It's warmer than it has been, high 60s. And we have an east wind blowing straight out of Juan de Fuca at about 8 to 10 miles per hour. We drifted north of our course during the night about Well, we were 13 miles north at sundown, and this morning we were 32 miles north. So we drifted a little bit, and so now we're heading southeast to get back down where we belong. This is good. You know, I'd rather be north of the strait than south of it. So proceeding now on a course of 130 degrees magnetic, heading for the strait. And you know, in my experience, that could take us anywhere from 1 day to 10 days. Hoping it's the former. Well, realistically, yesterday, the rate we were going, I thought it would be early tomorrow morning when we made our landfall. And it still may be early tomorrow morning when we make our landfall. That is sight land. But probably day after tomorrow. Unless we get a little bit more wind. Just a little bit more. You know, 15 knots. That's all I want. We're at 8 to 10 now. Give me 15. And we'll cover 60, 70 miles in 24 hours. And we'll be good. We may be able to cover 70 miles in 24 hours on this, on 10 knots of wind. But it's not exactly favorable, being as how it's coming straight out of the mouth of the strait. So we're getting closer. And the weather's fine. So we're happy. I'm happy. The crew's happy too. Bree wasn't too happy this morning though. What was up with her? She's whining, complaining. So here we are.
What did we have for supper last night?
Oh, supper last night. Supper last night was, what was that? What did we have last night? We had so many good meals. Last night was it was a pesto sauce with sun-dried tomatoes, sautéed Maui onions, sun-dried tomatoes, artichoke hearts, and salmon over spaghetti. And it was excellent. Let me tell you, it was excellent. And then for dessert, we had a sort of strawberry shortcake. Well, we had canned strawberries over cornbread. It was good. It was really good. And we're pretty much down to that's the last of our desserts. We're just about out of treats. I got 1 tin of Altoids left. Half a tin of Altoids left.
Did you go through that whole tin of Altoids already? Wow, man.
Probably set the boat up to self-steer and crawl back down into the cabin later on and read a book. We're only a little more than 100 miles outside the strait. Haven't seen a ship yet. I saw that one the other night before last. We saw one at night. That's it. This is great. Fishing.
Day 52, and we were at 119.9 miles away from Cape Flattery this morning, and it's now 10 to 6, and we are 119.3 miles away from Cape Flattery, and we want to go right over there. So Cape Flattery is 119 miles in that direction. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been misinformed. Cape Flattery is 119.2 miles in that direction. I'm going to head somewhere in that over there. See the seas are pretty flat, and we're pretty much going nowhere. Expecting some wind change this evening. And expecting, we got some VHF reception this morning, and they're expecting 10 to 15 sometime later this evening. So we're hoping to make some heading towards where we want to be going. But right now we've spent all afternoon just watching the clouds change and cleaning the boat. We got the jibs off deck this morning, all stowed up forward, so we'll be ready to tie up when we get in. But a pretty mellow day. Kind of like drifting between Oahu and Kauai. Do it for days. I've done that before. So just kind of hanging out. Hey Chuck,
Hi, babe.
how's it going?
Going very well, thank you. We had a nice dry day today. Lots of sunshine.
Got the boat cleaned up.
Got the boat cleaned up. Got ourselves cleaned up. Got aired out, dried out a little bit. Not totally dry, but definitely a huge improvement over what we had before. Everything's a lot more comfortable now, ain't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I just
Wish we were a little closer.
we haven't even gone a mile today. All day long, we have not gone 1 mile. Not one whole mile all day long. You know, so shook all the reefs out of the main, got the full mainsail, got all the sail up we can put up. You know, can't put a Genoa up.
The whole thing is if we had our jib, it wouldn't be
If
an
I could
issue.
if I could put up a head sail, put up the Genoa, we'd probably make a little bit more. You know, probably get 20, 30 miles out today, but I can't risk it. Cannot risk it. I can't risk the strain on the forestay, or we cannot risk not being able to get the sail down past that snag halfway up the mast. So we just can't. Got to make do with what we got. What we can do on the mainsail. Up until today, we've been making,
Not great progress, but good progress.
well, anywhere from 30 to 80 miles a day. 60, 70 miles a day. If we had made 60 miles today, we'd be 60 miles closer.
well,
we would be looking at arriving tomorrow. As it is, well, we're no closer to arriving tomorrow than we were yesterday. So
because we can start motoring in once we're.
I don't want to start unless we're 60 miles or so. We only have about 8 gallons of fuel, and the 8 gallons should be good for about 100 miles, but I can't be sure.
Well, bottom line is we need to go at least another 40 or 50 miles before we can start motoring.
Absolutely.
If we'd been able to get that today, we could have started motoring this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking forward to starting motoring too far out. I didn't really want to turn the engine on until we got to our waypoint, our landfall at what it is at 48:20, 48:25, 124:50 or whatever it is, and 3 miles off Tatoosh Island, then start motoring. That way you're absolutely sure you got enough fuel to make it to Port Angeles if you have to. Because Port Angeles is 60 miles inside. If we started now, we would have to stop at Nia Bay. And if we got to Nia Bay 3 o'clock in the morning, we'd be forced to go in the hours of darkness, which entering a strange harbor in the dark is not a good idea.
It's not an option.
Well, it would have to be an option if we motored in from
but we're not going
way
to
out,
do that.
so we're not going to do that.
It's not an option.
Yeah. So there you have it. We're sailing. Tomorrow we may see land. I don't know. It just depends on what happens. The forecast is for westerly winds at 10 knots, supposedly this afternoon. But here it is. What time is it? Almost 1800. Almost 6 p.m. And no westerlies. We got an east wind, slightly northeast, coming from exactly where we want to go. It's as if blowing straight out of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, right at us. So we can't go there. So we're going south. South-southeast is our course right at the moment, which is the best we can do. We can go south-southeast or north-northwest. And northwest is definitely taking us away. South-southeast is taking us towards. That's our option. That's where we're going. And we'll go south-southeast until we, if we're forced to keep going like that, we'll go until we get 15 miles or so south of our old course, and then turn around and tack back north again. So, sailing at the mercy of the wind, or lack thereof, at the moment, until we get a little closer. What do you think about that, Bree? Huh? Bree still hasn't left the cabin, won't go outside. She'll get up on the step in the companionway and look up at the mainsail, won't you? Yeah, but she won't go any farther. But it was nice to get all dried out today. Wah.
What is it?
YM Rightness, Monrovia. Alrighty, let's see here. Let's get it moving again, see if we can tack it. It's barely moving. Give me some wind. This way. Okay. I'm going to do it that way. We'll do it that way. Can we go east? Can we? Can we? Can we? No, we can't. Because it wants to go this way now. I'm just trying to get you to that way. Okay, let's get some speed. Speed is all relative.
So it's going on what, 8 o'clock?
Yeah, it's almost 8.
And we've made what, half a mile today?
Something like that.
It's actually the first time we've had no wind all day.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of wind now, but it's not enough to move us with this sail. I mean, it's just no steerage way at all. The sail is kind of filled, but I can't seem to get it to move. Now we're kind of moving. Get the baby to go east, southeast. The wind is... Okay, here we go. Let's try it now. Will she move? Will she move? Yeah, kinda. Kinda swinging. Kinda swinging. The wind seems to have gone south a little bit.